What is happening, everyone? Welcome to Dr. Prepper. Today we are going to be touching on some of my favorite survival fixed blades. We'll touch on why I believe that and a couple different fixed blades. I'd like to kick it off with the Tom Brown Tracker. This is USA made, which, that's a big deal in a sense. You want a reliable fixed blade. You want the fixed blade to be full tang, of course. There's no way around that. Without being full tang, you lose a ton of structure to the knife. If the blade ends at the handle, it's only a matter of time until the handle breaks off and you are basically left with just a sharp piece of metal. So you definitely want a full tang. That is basically first and foremost. Whether it's American made or it's foreign made, you want that full tang construction, no question about it. Preferably, you also want a thicker blade stock. It doesn't have to be, but in order to, have some structural soundness to it, and be able to be put through a gambit of different scenarios, you want a fairly thick blade stock. If you're going to be batoning this, if you're going to be chopping with this, you're going to want a fairly thick blade stock. And one thing that this does excel at is chopping. It does a phenomenal job. Another thing is batoning. It does a great job on that as well. Now, on my other channel, G-Ball Vision, I do have testing of this knife up there. So if you are not subscribed there, you can head over there and check out the testing for this knife. I will link that channel down below. If you are not coming here from G-Ball Vision and you are a new viewer to this channel, I will link G-Ball Vision down below, and then you can head over there and, of course, check out the testing for this. It did absolutely phenomenal. Between chopping, batoning, the saw works pretty good. It's very, very comfortable with the micarta handles. You do have 3 screws here holding it all together. And then I believe this is some sort of G10 liner in between the handles there. You have this big old belly for skinning, chopping, all that sort of thing. And then you have a nice straight edge here that is going to be great for batoning. And then this little area right here, right where the straight comes out to meet the belly, that makes feathers just absolutely wonderfully. It's so easy. Once you get a feel for the knife, it just becomes intuitive. The feather sticks that you can get off this are just phenomenal. Lifetime sharpening on this thing from Tops. This is, one of the best survival knives that I have in my collection. You can use the saw up here to strike a ferro rod. That's one place, that I don't know if that was the intention, included with these saw teeth, to be able to use those on a ferrocerium rod. It can be done, and it's actually fairly easy to use these because you have the sharp 90s there. But I wish there was more of like a designated spot for a ferrocerium rod. That's kind of like, that doesn't make or break a survival knife. It's definitely a nice addition if you can strike a ferrocerium rod with your fixed blade. But for me, that doesn't make or break the fixed blade and whether I would choose it or not. But this would probably be my number one choice if it came to a survival fixed blade. Now let's go ahead and get to number 2. Number 2 used to be my favorite up until I got the Tracker. The Esee 6, USA made, coming in $10.95. It does come with a nice sheath and a way to retain the sheath and knife. This is another great survival fixed blade. It's not as flashy per se as the Tracker is, but you're getting 1095 that has a beautiful powder coat on it. You're getting a nice thick piece of steel, full tang construction, like I said, that you would want to have there. You do have a place for a lanyard down there in case you're getting into, some heavier duty chopping or whatnot. You do have a nice choke up spot here if you have some fine detail work that you need to do, whether it be feather sticking or just, something around the fire, what have you. You have a nice choke up spot there to get right behind the edge. You have these very nice contoured G10 handles. Gives you a phenomenal, comfortable grip on this knife. Absolutely love this thing. This is, I would probably grab both, and give this off to someone, else. That way they were both with me. But I would probably have to have both of these knives if, the time came and I was in a situation. Definitely would want to have this one with me as well as the tracker. They both have, different uses that make them great. This one being just a nice drop point shape. You have a nice long straight edge here, a little bit of belly, and then a nice pokey tip. It's going to do a lot of things very good, as does the tracker. Now, let's take a look at one more. Now, this one is one of my favorite fixed blades of all time. This is the Buck GCK. Comes with a phenomenal sheath. You have a sheath and then a ton of different ways to attach it. Comes with lanyards, all kinds of stuff. That I don't believe that these are that easy to get anymore. But if you can get one, I highly, highly recommend it. These things are just absolutely amazing. Full tang construction, a beautiful handle here, micarta scales, and you can see the layering of the scales. So well done, and it is extremely, extremely comfortable. You have a Tanto profile here, which is going to be different than the tracker and the drop point on the SE6. It's going to have a little bit of different utility, and this could be more tactical based. So if you're in a situation where you know that you might be running into something where you need to defend yourself, this would be a great choice. A fixed blade is very quick. You have a lot of reach with it. And if push came to shove, you could definitely do some batoning with this, feather sticking. You could do some chopping with it. Probably not the best chopper depending on the size of what you're chopping, but it would do a fairly good job at chopping tasks as well, just because of how comfortable it is. You have plenty of blade there, so you could do some decent chopping with it, but this would be more, like I said, for a self-defense type task. They call it the GCK, which is the ground combat knife, so it makes sense, but it's supposed to be kind of an all-around, do-it-all type of fixed blade, but the tactical side is where that knife would definitely shine. So you have a couple of different options here for your survival task, whether it be completely bushcraft, that's where this would come in. If you're out in the woods and you need an awesome bushcraft knife that can do a little bit of everything very well, the tracker is where I would go. If you need kind of an in-betweener, this could definitely be used as a tactical knife as well, but still would be a great bushcraft knife. And then you lean with the Buck here more towards the tactical side of things, but still would be able to accomplish some bushcrafting tasks and that sort of thing. So you have a couple different options, all USA made here, and that is pretty much where I would go if I'm putting my life on the line with a fixed blade, I need a survival knife, I'm pretty much 90% going to go with a USA made knife. There's just something about them. They're built to last. You know, they have great warranties on the knives. They're very comfortable. Blade shapes are all very useful. You know, you have nice tall blades. This one's not quite as tall, but that's because of what it was designed for. But I absolutely love the Buck GCK. I also have the spear point in it as well. That's how much I really like the knife. But these 3 knives would be a great start to adding a fixed blade for your preparedness and survival. A fixed blade knife is a must-have. If you are new to survival, new to preparedness, a good fixed blade knife is something that you must have. And even if you're not out in the wilderness, if you're not out in the woods, you need to have a good fixed blade knife because of all the utility that they provide. There's just no question about it. It should be one of the very first things that you get other than food and water. A good fixed blade knife must be in your gear. You have to have it. There's just no question about it. And if you ask me which one, I would probably go with the SE6. It's a safe, sound bet at a good price. You know, this is going to be quite a bit more than both of these. These are very hard to get. I would go with the SE6. It's going to be very useful in a multitude of ways. You know, you could definitely defend yourself with this and do pretty much any bushcraft type task that you would need to with the SE6. And if you're out training and practicing with it and something happens, Esee has a lifetime warranty on their knives, so they would take care of you, no question. That is where I would go, and that's where I did go. This was the first knife that I picked up for that role, and then I've kind of expanded, you know, my scenarios with other fixed blades. So, but that is where I would go, the SE6, maybe the SE5, but I want the little bit extra length that the 6 provides. So this is where I would definitely go if I'm looking for my first good survival and preparedness type fixed blade, SE6. That'll wrap it up, guys. Thank you for watching. This is the very first video on the Dr. Prepper channel. I hope you enjoyed it. There's plenty more to come. I have a ton of ideas coming up the pipe for the Dr. Prepper channel. We will be covering a ton of stuff, and I figured this would be a great video to kick it off. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're new, you definitely want to subscribe. We have tons of stuff coming down the pipe. And leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of these knives. Let me know what your preferred survival knife is, or let me know which one that you have been looking at to pick up. That'll wrap it up, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.